Okay, so this is going to be a community pre-modern league with Quiet Speculation, Oath of Druids. And, you know, it's just doing some sideboard mapping there. But this is the list we're running. There's just a kind of a couple flex slots in this deck that you usually see. You know, 27 lands, 4 Mox Diamonds, 4 Sylvan Libraries. Sometimes people play 3 Sylvan Libraries and like an Enlightened Tutor. Sometimes people play Abundance, which is a crazy enchantment that combos with Sylvan Library. Maybe a bit of a win more. What we're doing with the bonus slot in the main deck is playing this Mana Leak. And in the sideboard, we have a second copy of Mana Leak. And I guess what I want is another card that comes in against Replenish. You could just play Aura of Silence. That does not really stop the Replenish side of the Replenish combo. So that's what I wanted to try out. Yeah, Brian Selden pioneered the main deck Mana Leak. I don't think anyone's playing a sideboard Mana Leak, so we'll see if that ever comes up. But other than that, it's pretty standard. We got some carpets in the sideboard, some Meddling Mages, you know, if it's like a Dreadnought matchup. We get to play lots of Cataclysms and hopefully turn 1 Sylvan Libraries. And, yeah, you know, you can Quiet Speculation for deep analysis, Volcanic Spray, and either Call of the Herd or Ray of Revelation, depending on the matchup. Yeah, and so I guess the Goblin matchup is just one thing I've been thinking about. The matchup, I guess, is maybe trickier than you would expect for an Oath of Druids deck. They play a lot of enchantment removal and Tormod's Crypt post-board. So you could maybe play some Pyroclasms in the board. I'm just going to be mainly trying to get by on the extra Cataclysm, and that's not something you see in every sideboard, the 4th Cataclysm. And then, you know, the extra Call of the Herd. And I'm actually going to board out my Quiet Speculations in that matchup. And not play further into Tormod's Crypt. All right. Yeah, well, so let's see how it goes. We'll try to get some CPL matches going. So let's do it. All right, cool. So we got a match against Dave Kaplan, who I think is a Dreadnought player, and is pretty good. So we'll see how this goes. But we do have a kind of hand that I'm happy to jam. You know, turn 1 Sylvan Library into another Sylvan Library. Duress. Well, they're probably going to take our Mox Diamond, I would think. But I was expecting Dave to be on Dreadnought, but he takes Oath of Druids. Interesting. I'm going to play the Mox Diamond. And then, so do I want to discard Gemstone Mine here? The thing is, like, having multiple Gemstone Mines is kind of sus. Like, as your mana sources. So I think I'll accept taking a turn off next turn to get the Sylvan Library down here, or to not have to play a Treetop. To not have 2 Gemstone Mines be my mana base. We can just always yield to this. Streaming and commentating. It's hard work, folks. All right, well, more Mox Diamonds. We've drawn all the Mox Diamonds. It's not the best. Let's see. So I could actually, like, pay for all these things. So I can get a 1, 2... I mean, we can try to make a huge Terravore to block this Nantuko Shade. It's probably not winning Magic the Gathering. I think I'll draw 1 card. What do I want to do here? Like, they probably just have removal for this Terravore, so I don't want to invest in it too much. Wasteland not looking the best. In this particular matchup. The only thing is I could, like, Wasteland myself. I guess that seems pretty dubious. All right, I'm just going to go ahead like this. And, well, we have a 2/2 Terravore. All right, so the opponent plays a basic swamp. They're going to get in with a Nantuko Shade. I'm not going to block. Are they just going to get in for 5 here? No, they'll just get in for 3. And the follow-up Nantuko Shade. Well, at least it wasn't Withered Wretch. So I think Cataclysm would be the best thing I could find here, or like Volcanic Spray. There's that stupid Mox Diamond again. Wow, okay, so we are going to get to Quiet Speculation for Volcanic Spray here. That's going to be nutters. So let's do that. So we'll play Quiet Speculation, target myself, get the spray. Oh man, is there anything I need to ray in this matchup? I probably can't afford to deep analysis with the life total I have, so I'll just get the ray just in case. And then we will pop off this Volcanic Spray. And then we'll get in for 3. I guess I was a little worried about how this was going for a second there, but I mean, this seems pretty decent. Withered Wretch for my opponent could definitely slow us down, but we at least can get this Oath of Druids down next turn, hopefully. Cabal Therapy. Are they going to name Oath of Druids? Do they have like a Ravenous Rats? Maybe I shouldn't have paid to keep the Oath of Druids then, but we were going to lose it off the Sylvan Library if we did not pay to keep it. But we can attack for 6 though on our turn. Apply some pressure to our opponent. Okay. So I think the plan here is to flashback Call of the Herd. Rather than attack with a Treetop Village, so we'll just add to the board. So here's the Call of the Herd. And so we can attack for 10 next turn. And the opponent concedes. All right. Yeah, so this gets a dicier post board. They're going to have Dystopias and Tormod's Crypts. So I'm going to be interested in like this kind of thing. So I can board out a Mana Leak. In general, boarding out like a Mox Diamond is okay. And like a card disadvantage matchup. We'll try not to draw tons of them. Probably, I don't think they, well, I guess they do play Phyrexian Furnace. Am I going to want to Naturalize a Phyrexian Furnace? I was thinking about just boarding out Naturalize entirely. See, Call of the Herd is pretty good here. Sorry, Sylvan Library, but then they just also have like Dystopia. Maybe I can make do like without Zuran Orb to get a Naturalize back in. I mean, what are the chances I get them with Volcanic Spray again? Maybe not the best. So Terravore is a little weak against Withered Wretch, so cutting one of those I think is pretty easy. Yeah, maybe I can just board out the Volcanic Spray. How does this look? All right, I think I'm going to try that. Maybe boarding out the spray is a little risky, but we just got the 2-for-1, but I don't think he's going to walk into that again. Cool, so we have a hand that eats it to Dystopia, but is otherwise pretty decent. Definitely not one I'm going to put back, and we'll just have to grind our way through Dystopia eventually. Sarcomancy, okay, so this is like a lower to the ground build than it's not like the Moneyball Black, presumably. Let's see, so I'm going to save the fetch land to use with Sylvan Library at some point. They're going to get in with a Sarcomancy for 2. Now, do you have a discard for my Oath of Druids? Curse Scroll. All right, well, I guess we'll try the Oath of Druids. So many Sylvan Libraries. I don't think Oath of Druids gets better, so let's just put it out there. Pass it back into our opponent's turn. They get in for twosies. Well, they're not immediately slamming Dystopia, so that's a good start. Well, they played a third land and a Phyrexian Negator. Well, it's still not Dystopia, so I'll roll with it. Thanks to only having 3 Terravores, you know, Terravore should not be the top card of my library. Just a casual 15/15. Cool, so we'll go to our draw step. And, like, do I want to play, like, Call of the Herd here for some reason? Like, what are the chances they answer my Terravore? Yeah, I think I do want to play Call of the Herd. The only thing is that these Sylvan Libraries are going to eat it to Cabal Therapy at some point. But if they answer the Terravore, I really want to block a zombie token or a Negator. I could just play Perish here. But we can't play around everything. So they play another Swamp and they're tapping mana. Smother on the Terravore. So this is pretty much how we drew it up then. Wow, they're going to attack with the Negator. Well, I think we're blocking the Phyrexian Negator for sure. We might as well make them sacrifice a bunch of permanents. What are they going to sacrifice? Sarcomancy, a token. I see. So now they don't trigger the Oath. I think it seems okay. I'll play the Sylvan Library. Do we bottom anything else juicy? So we did not manage to hit a Ray of Revelation. Well, they didn't sacrifice the zombie token. Wow. All right, well, here we go. All right, Sylvan Library, or sorry, Swords to Plowshares is pretty okay with me. We'll get out this Sylvan Library. So just, you know, our last Terravore is the last Terravore in our deck. So they must have like another answer here. I don't know what I was thinking with a block on the Call of the Herd. Wow, I think we're in a commanding position now. Because it wasn't going to kill the Negator. Okay, now I just got to think about this. So if I attack for 18, they have 12. So their plan is just to go to 2, I think. So ideally what we would do is juice this Terravore up to 20. Oh. Well, I think we just win unless Terravore is the bottom card of my deck. I'll give it a try. Okay, we got there. Maybe they have Snuff Out? So we can't use Sylvan Library or we deck ourselves. Well, we'll see what they got. So they do snuff out this Terravore. We're going to swords it and gain enough life to hopefully survive the crack back. Well, definitely enough. And then we've got one more turn of living. We do have a Ray of Revelation in the graveyard now to answer like a Dystopia if that comes down. Wow, so they're going to block with a Negator. So if I swords this, they go to 25, and then they still go to 22. Yeah, the math just doesn't work out there. They did block with a Negator. They would have to sacrifice 5 permanents. It looks like their plan is not to snuff out the Terravore, so I'm pretty sure we have this wrapped up. They go to 2, and they sacrifice 5 permanents. So which ones are they going to be? See, they have to sacrifice enough lands that I feel like we're not going to be at risk for hitting a Perish here. You're going down to 1 swamp, so I think we got this. They oath out a Hypnotic Spectre. Cool. All right, that'll do it. All right, so we've got a match here against Romario Vidal, a streamer on YouTube. Lots of great pre-modern content. As for us, so this hand's a pretty decent mix of spells, so I guess we're going to keep. All right, it's a Mox Diamond Mirror into a basic island. So I wonder if they're holding up a Weathered Wayfarer or what the story is. I think I'm just going to play a basic forest. That does not tell a lot about what we're doing. It does preclude the possibility of playing Swords to Plowshares on their turn. But I see now it's a Tithe deck. So there's probably like Gushes and Foils and maybe Weathered Wayfarer. Or maybe not. A Treetop Village. Well, I think I'm just going to play the Mox Diamond and discard the City of Brass. They're going to Abeyance. Okay. I don't think that stops me from playing this here Terravore. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. Another Mox Diamond from the opponent. You know, maybe I could have given more consideration to naturalizing one of those Mox Diamonds. Well, we'll try this Terravore attack and see how it goes. So it resolves. So I think I am just going to naturalize a Mox Diamond. I mean, maybe I should be saving this for Scroll Rack, but if we naturalize and then port absorb. Okay, well, I wasn't expecting that one. All right, well, that being how things played out, I'm just going to deploy the Treetop Village here and try to start beating in for 6 a turn. And then we can start porting our opponent. So we will stand up the Treetop and see if we can get in for 6 here. Swords on the Treetop Village, okay. Here's a Rishadan Port. I guess I'll port the island. Opponent's definitely cooking up something crazy over there. Ooh, another Treetop Village. That's not terrible. Get in for 3. Maybe our opponent will cycle a Decree of Justice at some point. We can nail it with this Volcanic Spray. But this also does provide some reach. Well, there's the Scroll Rack. They're racking it up. So this would be a sick time to draw Cataclysm and decimate our opponent's board and grow our Terravore. Treva's. Okay. Well, I am going to stand up the Treetop Village. And try to get in for 6. No swords. You're dead next turn if they don't come up with something. They are activating the rack. Like when you've already scroll racked the turn before, and now they're doing their upkeep, so they haven't even drawn a card. I didn't really pay attention to how many cards they scroll racked last time. I don't even know if I can tell on Magic Online. But anyway, I don't think they're seeing that many cards. And then, well, what's this gonna be? Something shocking? Wrath of God, okay. So we're gonna attack for 6 here. And then they're gonna be in range of the double Volcanic Spray. So let's stand up. Hang on, I just need to count my mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I cannot play Sylvan Library this turn. Do I want to play Sylvan Library this turn? I don't know. We're definitely standing up the first treetop here. I guess what I could do is play Sylvan Library and Port. See, they're not dead this turn anyway. So I think it probably does make sense to attack for 3. Play the Sylvan Library. Play the Port. Sorry, play the Wastes. Port on their upkeep. So they could play like an Armageddon of their own here. But at least we can reload with Sylvan Library. What would be scary is Armageddon plus Disenchant on the library. That would be rough. Well, there's the Armageddon. There's a land. Okay, these are, well, can I undo that? I really don't need a second Sylvan Library. So we'll put this on top. Play Quiet Speculation. Get a Deep Analysis, the Ray, and a Call. And so next turn we can potentially draw 5 cards. Opponent's tapping for double green over there. So maybe I should have just drawn the extra Sylvan Library to play around Disenchant there, but okay, it's Guy's Blessing. Oh, targeting themselves and not me. So they got back Tithe, Absorb, and Island. Okay. Draw some cards here. Would like to get this Terravore down. We did find a land. Yeah, I'm just gonna be drawing cards here and burning some life total. And I am gonna play out the Terravore. They pretty much have to swords this, and if they do, we'll gain a bazillion life and get to reload some more off of Sylvan Library. That is the thing about playing Armageddon versus the Terravore deck. One thing that's gone really well this game is we have not even drawn an Oath of Druids for this creatureless matchup. Well, there's the swords on the Terravore, so we're going to draw a bunch more cards. Sylvan Library, well, not really the one I was looking for. So what am I going to do here? I guess we'll just be great and pay 8. And yeah, I think I'll play the Plains and the Call of the Herd from hand. And I mean, we're holding up Swords to Plowshares technically. I just don't see the upside in losing my Gemstone Mine for no real reason. Like, we could still draw a Cataclysm and that would be awesome. Cool, cool. Swords to Plowshares. Glad I paid the extra life to the Sylvan Library. No Cataclysm. There's the Oath of Druids. And now we're striking out on the draws a little. I think I'm just going to try to churn through it. Then I'm going to play this here. Call of the Herd from hand. And then I think it's worth sacrificing the Gemstone Mine to port my opponent. Make them rack before their draw step if that's what they're trying to do. So they do have to rack in their main phase. Looking for a new card here. Okay, so the opponent is passing it back. We're going to get a fresh look with Sylvan Library here. No Oath of Druids or Sylvan Libraries. A red source. And, okay, so these cards are good. So I think I'm gonna... I would love to keep all of the cards. I am gonna try to just attack here. And, play in flashback Volcanic Spray. See if this gets the job done. Do they have like a 2-mana counterspell? Gushing. Are we going to get our Volcanic Spray foiled? Yes, we are. All right. They're racking. Okay, there's a concession. All right. So in this matchup, how do I want to sideboard? I think a deck like this can play Exalted Angel. Probably Carpet of Flowers not the hottest in this matchup. But like Cataclysm is looking pretty good. Dealing with a bunch of permanents. Volcanic Spray can come out. I mean, Carpet of Flowers might be better than nothing. All right, I guess we're going to bring in Meddling Mage. Oh, and Mana Leak. That's this is a good spot for it. And then, like, do I need to shuffle anything in from their graveyard? I don't think so. So maybe we're going to keep in a random Swords to Plowshares to try to deal with Exalted Angel. Is there anything in this matchup for me to Ray of Revelation? I mean, it sure didn't look like it. I think we'll make do with Naturalize. And so the only thing is that, like, Quiet Speculation is just only searching for Call of the Herd here. So maybe it's worth just boarding those out. I mean, I don't mind keeping the Deep Analysis. I mean, maybe Grindy might match up as Grindy. Well, now we have a couple answers for an Angel. All right, let's try this. Okay, so I'm going to keep here. So a couple things we can name with this Meddling Mage, but probably just Swords to Plowshares. And then just try to Mana Leak any Wrath of Gods. The old basic Plains Pass from the opponent. And yeah, we're going to prepare to activate our Meddling Mage. Opponent's going for a Treva's. Mox Diamond. Scroll Rack. Something else. Something scary. No, just nothing. I'll go ahead and fetch here. I don't need to draw a Plains on my turn. And so they don't get an opportunity to Swords the Meddling Mage if it resolves. Tithe, sure. Yeah, there was no, they were always going to get to Tithe. So if we get a second one of these down on Wrath of God, I don't think there's too much that they can do. And as it is, they kind of need to Wrath the Meddling Mage. I'm going to play Wasteland, attack. And I'm going to Wasteland the Trevas. You know, maybe I should have just played Rishadan Port. Although if they had like a Teferi's Response there, we could Mana Leak a Teferi's Response with a Wasteland, but we wouldn't have enough mana with a Port. Treetop Village, I like that. Like, we could be playing Call of the Herd, but I don't want to get Wrathed on their turn. And this, like, bridges us into playing Rishadan Port. So here's the 4 mana. So is this the Wrath of God? It's the Deep Analysis. I think I'm going to let that one go. It is kind of Wrath of God that matters. We have the answer for it. Ooh, Sylvan Library. Alright, well, let's get in for 2. So my only regret is we're not going to get to draw a bunch of extra cards on account of getting our dudes sorted. So I guess there's no reason to play the Rishadan Port right now. Like, they could be playing Sabo's Web. We'd probably have to mana leak that one. See, we boarded out our Quiet Speculations to fade our opponent's Tormod's Crypt. That is a key part of the strat, I think. Scroll Rack. See, it is kind of just Wrath of God that I care about. I mean, maybe. I don't know how good this Scroll Rack card is. I watched Lanny play some Scroll Rack. See, the way they're gushing here, now they're like a long way from Wrath of Godding, especially once I start porting them. So we're going to be beating in. I'm going to play this Call of the Herd, and we're going to be able to port our opponent. I mean, I guess they could go... Hell yeah. Bunch of Mox Diamonds. Okay, I guess we have to hold up mana leak is what it comes down to. Armageddon. Do I want to burn my mana leak on this? All right, I guess I don't really want to get mana leaked here. And I just want to kind of get to my turn and activate Sylvan Library. And see where we stand. There's a carpet. There's a Terravore. Okay. So we'll draw the Terravore. Okay, so what do I want to do? So they probably have Wrath of God. Do I just want to attack with this Treetop Village? It does seem like we have plenty of lands. Like if... I don't think it's very likely we get Armageddon again. I'm just going to play this port and kind of count on porting them / Carpet of Flowers, seeing us through. Of course, they would have to play an island. But I guess Mox Diamond may be just better than Carpet of Flowers is what we're seeing here. All right, so they've racked for an unclear number of cards. Is this the Wrath of God? Okay. Here is the Sylvan Library. More Sylvan Libraries, okay. All right, so I'm gonna play the carpet. It's at least gonna get some value here. And I think I just have to drop the Terravore, and if it gets sorted, you know, we gain a bunch of life. I guess they could crypt us, but it's still at least a 3/3. It's always yield to these. Let's say yes. Let's make a green. Let's play Terravore. Let's play Treva's Ruins and get back the Treetop Village. And then, I don't know, maybe I got ahead of myself by getting back Treetop Village. In terms of, like, having to deal with, like, another Armageddon or something. Fact or fiction? So swords and absorb? I don't want to put the swords with the absorb. They want a swords my dude and play more factor fictions. I think that's okay. The other options I could put like absorb with a factor fiction, and it is pretty hard for them to cast both. Absorb doesn't really seem that good, but neither does Island. Okay, so they took Absorb and Factor Fiction, so it's going to be a while before they can play either. Okay, we'll get to gain a bunch of life. What would really be great is a Shuffler at some point, and that is the thing about boarding out your Quiet Speculations. Mana Leak's a pretty decent one, though. We'll use this, make a green, and play Call of the Herd. Play Treetop Village. And there's the Crypt. I don't think I'm porting here. I think I'm just holding up Mana Leak, even though it's really obvious that I have it. Maybe they're recognizing that right there. But if they play Factor Fiction, I think I'll just Mana Leak it. Beat in for 6. There's another land, so they can resolve Factor Fiction through my Mana Leak. Aura of Silence. So our library is like all Sylvans at this point. Or maybe they're going to go after the carpet here? No, they're going after the Sylvan. Okay. All right, that all works out for me just fine. So we'll use this ability, make some green, stand up the Treetop Village, get in for 6. Play Sylvan Library. And this was the Absorb. It's just that I do have another one on top of my library. I think it's fine. We're still attacking for 6 here. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to Mana Leak this. I think I'm going to go like, all right. I think I'm doing it like this here. So this way, they need another land as swords one of my dudes around Mana Leak. And if they do, it's not that big a deal. We have the Sylvan Library still on top of our deck, and they probably want to counter that too. Okay. I guess I could have used Port in their end step there. All right. Let's just always yield to these. So I guess Carpet doing its thing after all. We'll stand up the Treetop. Let's play the Sylvan Library. Let's get in for 3. Okay. And I'll play out the Wasteland. And so we're holding up Port plus Mana Leak here. Cracking the Flooded Strand. Yeah, I think I'm just going to let the Tithe resolve. Maybe this lets them shuffle their library. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are tied on lands. Or are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hang on. Oh, so they must have held priority and activated it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have just Mana Leaked the Tithe there. It's just, I'm just not very scared of these scroll rack activations, but I think that would have been the heads up play. I'm just not super used to playing against it, but that would have been an opportunistic Mana Leak, I think. So I'll just port, I guess, a Plains. as they have unlimited islands. All right, the opponent's playing Guy's Blessing. That seems fine. Activate Scroll Rack. Trying to find one of those swords. And something's about to get mana leaked here. Yep, there it is. Okay, well, holding off on mana leak worked out. Unless their last thing is foil here, that'd be pretty good. There's a plains. So maybe they can technically... So what I can do is just tap this now. And my treetop is protected. Let's just yield to this, even though I probably should have done that earlier in the match. Ooh, Cataclysm. And let's activate. We'll get some green. Stand up the treetop. And we'll just get in here. And unless Solitude is Premodern legal, that should do it. Cool. Okay, we're playing against Alex here. Yeah, this guy plays Premodern in New England. And I think he's not making YouTube content now, but he is the Bob Ross of YouTube content when he is making it. On our end, I don't know, this hand has Sylvan Library and a Terravore. It's pretty hard to mulligan this one, although this could be a little bit loose. I know that Alex likes to play aggro decks. All right, we're not getting turn 1 Lackeyed, so I'd say we're in the clear. All right, I think I'll just play the Treetop Village. You know, I considered playing a Windswept Heath here to play around Wasteland. If it does get Wastelanded, it seems like our opponent is at least not developing their board. But, see, they're on some kind of Treva's Ruins game plan, and maybe they're going to play Tithe. Ooh, a Werebear. All right. Well, we're drawing all the Terravores on our end. I think the plan here is just to play Sylvan Library and pass it on back. All right. Well, our opponent did not attack with a Werebear, so I wonder if they're about to play something that costs 3. But I guess they're on some kind of grow, I would assume here. And that's my prediction. Call of the Herd. All right. Or, you know, some kind of Bant aggro. Probably not playing Mox Diamonds. All right, let's yield to those Sylvan Library triggers. Mox Diamond. Okay, that's not bad. So I kind of don't need another Gemstone Mine. I'm probably not about to naturalize anything, but do I just want to draw the card for fun? Probably what I want to do is really just shuffle my library and try to keep my life total high. So let's crack the Windswept Heath and grab a forest. And I will play Mox Diamond. We'll ditch the City of Brass. And now we have an army of Terravores coming. The opponent plays a land. And I think I'll just try to keep the Terravore around. Another Werebear. Okay. Let's go. Draw some cards off of Sylvan. So this Mox Diamond's actually pretty decent. It's going to let us get our Terravore up to, you know, size to rumble with these elephant tokens. I'm just going to attack with a Terravore. And I'm going to play Terravore. Oh, and I guess I can play another Terravore, is what I'm realizing here. But do we have a mana leak? Well, maybe I should have played out my land here. I just did not count my mana maybe as closely as I could have. But, oops, all Vores. Okay, the opponent's flashing back Call of the Herd. We'll draw some cards off of Sylvan Library. Swords to Plowshares. That's probably not terrible. So what am I going to do here? Am I going to attack? I guess I'm going to attack with both Terravores. They can swing back for like 8. If they got Threshold, they could like really do some damage. I kind of just want to swing with everything and bank that they don't get Threshold and attack with everything. I guess that's just a little risky. All right, I'm going to attack with 2 Terravores, and then I'm going to Swords the one that they double block. And we're using our Gemstone Mine to try to tick up our Terravores here. Yeah, 3 to the token, 1 to the opponent. They're fetching here, and that does grow our Terravores too. So if our opponent has like Wrath of God or something, that would be pretty bomb. Okay, so they didn't even see our Oath of Druids plan. Let's see, Ray of Revelation, not looking too hot here. Volcanic Spray like could pick off some dudes. This seems like a matchup where I really don't need to sideboard a lot. But Cataclysm also like looking okay. Like they probably play some Sylvans. So like keeping it a Naturalize and Array seems fine. I think what I'm going to do is just bring in the Cataclysm and just try to make sure that Terravore is the biggest kid on the block. And then I think, unfortunately, I'm going to leave in the Naturalize and... oh, I guess I took out Array. What do I want to cut? I mean, maybe like a Mox Diamond. Yeah, because they probably have Sylvan Library more likely than anything else. So I guess I'll just cut the Naturalize. Well, we've got a pretty decent hand that has all of the things in it here on the draw, so this looks pretty good. Phyrexian Furnace. Well, that's gonna dampen our fun. Okay, so I'll play the Windswept Heath. And the goal here is, well, let's see. So I think we're going to play Sylvan Library. Like ideally, you would keep some fetch lands around to try to ensure the survival of this Terravore. But if we trigger an Oath of Druids, it's probably not going to matter anyway. It is one good thing about having the 1 Terravore in hand already, is if we do Oath, it'll be for probably a giant one. Well, we're just going to have to struggle our way through our opponent's raise here. So maybe what I could have done is actually sideboarded out the Quiet Speculations. In light of what our opponent's doing here. Let's see. So am I just going to play... Well, so they don't have the flashback mana right now. So I think I'm just going to try out this Sylvan Library and see how it goes. Yeah, it looks like they don't have a way to deal with the Sylvan Library for now. So we'll draw some cards. And, you know, we're going to be great and pay 8. All of these are fine. And let's see. So do I want to get my Call of the Herd banished to the Netherrealm after getting a 3/3 out? I think I'm just going to port my opponent and try to set up a better situation. So our opponent is unfortunately stuck on mana. And All right, well, there's a Terravore. So the Terravore not looking too hot. I guess neither is Wasteland. So what am I going to do here? I think what I'm going to do is just attack with Treetop Village. And see if this gets sorted. It does get sorted. That's fine. It's just more redraws for the Sylvan Library. I'll take the opportunity to port them. It seems totally worth it. I guess Mana Leak would have been a fine card to board out in this matchup. Well, we're just not going to be doing a lot from the graveyard. Okay, well, there's a Volcanic Spray. So I think my plan here is to play an elephant, and we'll just take our medicine from the furnace. I mean, at some point we'll find like a Cataclysm, and it puts us into a position to stick a Terravore and have it be good. The opponent's just not drawing any lands, unfortunately. Although these Mercadian Masks basic planes are pretty sweet. All right. So we are going to be able to like double port our opponent and hold up oh, okay, and there's a Ray for the library. Do I want to Mana Leak this? Sure. Maybe that's a little egregious. What would if they just find a green source? They can, you know, Ray of Revelation it. But I don't know, I wanted one more Sylvan Library draw there, but maybe I should have paid some life. Okay. Well, we've run them out of Phyrexian Furnaces. So we're going to be clear to, like, play Quiet Speculation. Okay. And that'll be a shuffle for this Sylvan Library, so that's cool. I guess I'll just keep a bonus Sylvan in hand. I don't know. I'm gonna play the Quiet Speculations. What I'm gonna do, and grab some Call of the Herds and a Deep Analysis, and put them in the graveyard in any order. Although I guess playing around. Phyrexian Furnace maybe matters. And I meant to tap holding up a plains there. Alright. Alright, well, my opponent didn't draw much in the way of lands. Just trying to say sorry about the mana screw. Cool. Well, that was the first 3 rounds of the CPL. We'll be back with the second 3 rounds. Yeah, nice 3-0 start. Playing in some interesting decks there. You know, some Phyrexian Negators, some Scroll Racks, some kind of Bant Threshold. But yeah, I mean, the deck worked pretty well. I mean, the Mana Leak seems pretty decent, so I can't complain about that. Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back on the other side there with 3 more matches.